Rabotay, תזכו לשנים רבות, נעימות וטובות. At this moment I realized I'm totally out of shape. I just danced for 5 minutes, אין כוח, Danny, I don't know what you did to me. בעזרת השם נעשה ונצליח. Rabotay, we enjoyed a beautiful Shabbaton. A beautiful Shabbaton. The entire Leman Achai staff deserves a tremendous round of applause. Mesirut Nefesh. They made it mamash classy for the first Shabbaton to be so beautiful. It's really a miracle. But every good story must have a very good ending. We don't want to have a bad ending to the stories. I want to share with you a few points before we call upon very special guests to speak over here. You know, everyone has challenges in life. And from a young age, we look to overcome the challenges by pulling off some, shtick here and there, as they say. There was once a boy, a teenager, that used to always get in trouble. One time he had a big party in Manhattan, and he was running late, so he started driving fast down the streets. Runs 1 red light, 2 red lights, and the police officer catches him. The sirens go off, and he keeps going. 3 red lights, 4 red lights, 5 red lights before he finally stops. The officer was the first week of his job. He's a rookie officer. He comes out of his car and says, "Sir, do you realize what you just did?" He says, "Absolutely yes." "What did you do?" "I just ran 5 red lights." The officer says, "Do you know that you just disobeyed my ruling to stop?" "Yes, 100%, officer." "So you're admitting it?" He said, 100%. "So why'd you do it?" He says, "I swear to you, I never did such a thing in my life. I promise you. But I just, unfortunately, had a bad fight with a friend. I murdered my friend. I chopped him up, put him in a black garbage bag. He's in my trunk. I was so nervous, I had to just drive away. I didn't know what to do. I ran every red light." The officer, his first week on the job, he gets all nervous. "Don't move!" He takes out his gun. "Keep your hands up." And he immediately calls, back up, I have a murder scene. There's a dead man in the trunk, a murder scene. Please, back up. Within 2.5 minutes, there's 20 police officers, an FDNY, and ambulances, everyone surrounding the car. And the officer is all scared. It's his first week on the job. He's shaking. So the senior officers say, "Move away. You did your job." They come to the guy that drove in the 5 red lights. "Sir, what's going on here? Why did you commit this murder? Open up the trunk. What's happening?" He says, "Murder? Me? Murder? Chas v'shalom, never happened." He's like, "What do you mean never happened? You murdered someone, you put him in the trunk." He's like, "No. Who told you that?" "We got a call from this officer that you murdered someone. He's in the trunk." He says, "This officer is crazy. He's making everything up. Why don't you open up the trunk? You'll see there's no murder. No one's there. In fact, in 1 or 2 minutes, I'll tell you I probably ran a few red lights as well. Please check it out." And they open up the trunk, there's nothing there. Baruch Hashem, he got away with it. Melave Rabotay, our youth today are getting away with a lot of things. But they need a home to make them stop doing all this shtuyot, crime and fights, and Hashem Yishmor drugs. If there's one yeshiva in our community, Baruch Hashem, that's moser nefesh to every child. Midrash Leman Achai does that for 20 plus years. They have now young Bukharin rabbis, the help Rabbi Klein and Yoman Balayla, and they're mamash changing lives. Rav Asher will come here and introduce a few boys for you to hear a couple of minutes of their stories. And Rabotay, you should know what this Shabbaton meant behind the scenes. For you, it's delicious food, some chinushim and chinuch eladim, but for the yeshiva, it's more than just today. It's a whole future. There's a whole game plan that they have made out for the next few years, B'ezrat Hashem. So we're going to call upon one of the Rebbeim over there who gives his heart and soul. Bemet, a young Talmid Chacham. The Bemet is moser nefesh together with the staff. Rav Asher b'chavod.
Shavua Tov to everyone. Before I I start, I want to say thank you for everyone for joining us. I think it was a very successful, very beautiful, nice gathering, a nice Shabbaton, a great cause. I want to say thank you to Simcha Gurgo for the beautiful food, the delicious food that we're eating. Thank you. If I say thank you to everyone, I will never finish. I want to say, before I start speaking, I want to first invite one of the alumni of the yeshiva, which has been with Rabbi Kleiman through thick and thin as well. I think he learns with Rabbi Kleiman every single morning. 5 o'clock in the morning? Something like that? So without further ado, Yitzhak Matayev, please stand up.
Shavua everybody. I just wanted to say thank you to Rabbi Kleiman for doing a great job for the past, you could say, couple of decades. Rabbi Kleiman has been with this community for a really long time, including with my oldest brother Yaakov and my older brother Abraham as well. Rabbi Kleiman is a great man, and the yeshiva is an amazing yeshiva. But there was a point in my life where I was in a yeshiva and I got, you could say, kicked out for being a troublemaker. And Rabbi Kleiman found out, as knowing my family, knowing that I'm a Jew. He came over to my house, he sat me down, and he told me, "Yitzchak, you can't go to public school." So we went back and forth. I told Rabbi Kleiman, just leave me alone. I don't want to go to yeshiva anymore. I've been there for 10 years. I want out. So he told me, think about what you're doing. You're a young guy. You have a whole life ahead of you. And I'm sure that's not what you really want. I disagreed with him. And I told Rabbi Kleiman, just go. After a year or so, I myself went up to Rabbi Kleiman after going back and forth with him and told him, Rabbi, you're right. I do want to finish yeshiva at least. So I finished my high school in Leman Achai for the last 4 months, I believe. It was about 4 months. But Rabbi Kleiman is never a person to say no, and the yeshiva is very accepting. And it's something that everyone should be a part of, whether it's being a student or whatever it is. Personally speaking, once again, Rabbi Kleiman did have a very big impact in my life, and he's still out in Queens for men, boys of all ages, speaking, giving classes, and just giving his all. Thank you, Shabbaton.
The next alumni I want to bring up a little bit about him. You know, he not only is the alumni, he finds the time 3 to 4 times a week to stop by in the yeshiva and to take out boys and to learn with him one-on-one. That's the kind of kesher we try to build with the Talmidim in the yeshiva. It's not that we have Talmidim and we say bye-bye. We make sure that these Talmidim, they come back. And what's the sole proof to that? I'm standing right here. I tell you, I had a lot of things I could have done in my life. Instead, I picked the most dar thing. And it's the truth, and no one wants to take this responsibility. So I want to ask Rafal Babayev to please stand up and to come say a couple words.
Thank you for the introduction. Nice set. Shabbat Tov, everybody. Thank you for having me here. A big shout out goes to Rabbi Levy. To all the rabbis who are here to join us, to support us, thank you so much. The heart and soul of Rabbi Kleiman, there is no way to describe for the things you do, all those late nights that you stay up, and the backbone of the yeshiva, who's keeping the yeshiva up with the Rabbeim, Rabbi Gadayev, the principal of the school, Daniel Lubachayev. You guys are amazing. This is about 10 years or even more back. I came to Leman Achai at the age of just finishing 10th grade. A you could imagine, a boy with sweatpants. I didn't have no bandana, no nothing like that, but I was transferring to yeshiva, and I did very well in public school, but I figured it's time to move on. I tried one yeshiva, it didn't work out. He didn't know any Hebrew. I don't want to mention which yeshiva it was. We went to another yeshiva with my rabbi. He didn't work over there either because they said he has no chumash. He doesn't know how to read. They opened a Gemara with me. I said, what is this? Looks like a drawing book. And you open a Gemara, you have the Mishnah, the Gemara, it looked like a drawing book. I said, I'm sorry, I don't know how to read this. The principal never came back. I only then noticed that I had to leave the school. I step into ACHAI. The dress code is not there. A lonely soul. I walked in. The front desk, not knowing who I am. She asked for tuition. It was against my parents' will that I went there. Shouldn't say it was against them, but they said this is not the best decision you're making. Nevertheless, I listened to my heart. I walked in. I didn't have a penny on me. My parents felt like I would do a better job in public school. The lady in the front says, you can't come in without tuition. There I was, I picked up my book bag. I said, well, if I'm not accepted here, then I guess I gotta go back to the place I was once before. And that is going back to public school. I open the door, and who do I see? A man with a gray beard. Now it's white beard. He says, Raval, my cousin went to that school also, Avram, Michael. He said, what are you doing here? I said, I came to yeshiva, Rabbi. I just wanted to sign up. I said, I don't have a penny. The yeshiva needs, I know the yeshiva is in need. The yeshiva needs money. The yeshiva needs support. I don't have it, Rabbi. He says, we'll figure something out. There are going to be other messengers who are going to provide that tuition for you. He says, I see greatness in you. Take your book back. Turn yourself around. Go back to class. I said, what? I said, go back. I've never been in class. He said, I'm going to put you in class. You're going to come here tomorrow. He says, any kid walks into this yeshiva, he does not leave. This is your house. We're a family. Go back to class, he says. It was a hard transition. If Rabbi Clement recalls, Rabbi Kramer, Rabotai, I'm telling you, and right now I feel like crying, I have like almost tears coming out of my eyes, but I did not know how to read a Gemara. And Rabbi Clement could probably testify the page of the Gemara and the Gemara that not only I learned it, not only I learned how to read Chumash, how to read a Gemara, Mishnah, where Rashi was. I didn't even know what Rashi is. I figured some kind of a name. I don't know, you put stocks in it or you take stocks out. I don't know what it is. What happens to be Rashi was a person, a Chacham, who's always inside of the page. You cannot open a page and not see Rashi. I didn't know what Tosfot was. And there was a raffle. And I took it seriously. The rabbi said it as a joke. We're giving a menorah out. Whoever learns, and I'm not here to advertise myself. I'm not here to say things I did or all the accomplishments. That's not what I'm telling you. What I'm telling you was what the yeshiva is capable of doing, taking a kid from public school and shaping and making him into a talmid, a real talmid, a real Jew. Rabotai, we're sitting here, if I could say nicely, oblivious to what's happening in ACHAI. I learned Gemara Shabbat, Ayin Gimel Bal Peh. 2 pages, Ayin Gimel Amud Aleph, Ayin Gimel Amud Beis. Rabbi Clement, was it true? I didn't want to say that also. There was another page, but those 2 pages, I walked in, Rabbi Kramer, Rabbi Kleiman is sitting, and they're asking questions after question. I said, can I just get my menorah and leave? He says, no, we have more to ask. And I stood there, I said, okay, go ahead, ask. I was kept laughing because I knew the Gemara. I didn't sleep that night. I was so rejuvenated, I was so revitalized to do it. Rabbi Kramer put so much energy in me. He put me in front of the class and I didn't know anything. Every single kid was in front of the class. Rabbi Kramer we leave home. The rabbis sit back at the end of the day. Rabbi Kleiman asks, who did well in class? Who didn't do well in class? Why didn't you do well in class? When kids leave, Rabotai, Rabbi Gadai, Rabbi Daniel Machayev sit after school and discuss how can we improve the school every single day. Sometimes I walk into the office, I need something, they say, you can't come in, it's a critical moment. What would happen? We need to help the child. I can stand here and talk on end and not make justice to one point of a time. If you feel like you came here just to have a great time in Shabbaton, that is true. We're all entitled to enjoy. But to leave and not get the message that you are part of the family, that you're part of Laman Achai, and that we need to help, and that we need to give, because that's us. That's our future. I'm going to end with a story. I don't know if anyone knows Rabbi Amin. He lives in Deal, New Jersey. He's originally from Seattle, Washington. A week before Rosh Hashanah, him and his wife go to visit his mother-in-law. And they had a party to go to. It was a month before Rosh Hashanah. And they were driving on the Staten Island. And Rabbi Amin said to his wife, listen, honey, instead of coming back a week before again back to the cemetery, since we're passing by, why don't we just go in now and eulogize what we need to do, and this way we don't have to come back, we don't have to make a double trip. She listened. They walked in, they started praying. Rabbi Amin picks up his head, turns to the right, and he sees 9 people in a coffin. And he keeps looking there, and he sees those 9 people are just standing there, not bulging, and just literally talking to each other, and nobody knows what to do. Rabbi Amin tells his wife, listen, honey, give me 1 second, let me just see what's happening, and I'll be back. He walks over and he says, can I help you guys? He says, yeah, that's our father. He says, we don't know what to do. Rabbi Amin looks around, he sees 5 kids, 4 uncles, and him, that's 10 people. He says, okay, Rabotai, let's take the belt, let's put it under the coffin, and we'll bring it down nicely and gently. As they bring it down, Rabotai, nobody should witness, nobody should experience this. Rabbi Amin says, he took a shovel, as they lowered it down, he started pushing the dirt onto the coffin. As they were covering over the coffin, Rabbi Amin said, okay, Kaddish, please. They said, what? What is that? So Rabbi Amin thought, listen, something is wrong. I have a siddur. Maybe they don't know how to read. I'll have a siddur. They don't know it by heart. He opens the book. He says, go ahead. It kadal vit kadash. He says, Rabbi, we don't know how to read. He says, we don't know how to read, Rabbi. So he started dictating. Vit kadal vit kadash, line by line, stanza by stanza. He dictated to them. He says, okay, guys, let's finish it up. Let's put all the dirt that we have here. Let's fill it up. This is kavod amet. As he says this, they walk away. He says, guys, what are you doing? He says, Rabbi, we're not going to do this right now. We did a little, that's enough. He says, kavod amet, you're going to give the mitzvah of kavod amet to someone else? He says, Rabbi, that's what we call this amigo. And he screams out and says, Amigo Ben Fernando, come here. He says, he's going to do the job, Rabbi. He says, guys, you can't let a guy do this. Hasta la vista, Rabbi, we're out of here. And they left. Rabbi Amin says, with tears, he filled up the hole by himself. As he finished, this amigo walked over and he says, Rabbi, you did the whole job for me. You might as well put the nameplate on top. Finish the job, Rabbi. He takes the name, he sees the plate and it says, Simon Pollock. He says, well, Simon, I did what I could. Your kid said Kaddish. I filled up the grave. Hashem Yishmar. I did my best. 2 months later, the Amin family has a wedding. So, as I said before, he's from Seattle, Washington. All the Seattle, Washington family come in. They join for the wedding. The old uncle, Rabbi Amin, was also there. Everybody was happy to see each other. They sit down. And Rabbi Amin couldn't stop telling the story to everyone else. And he tells the story to his great uncle. And he says how there were 9 people and he walked over and he helped. It's such a coincidence. A week before Rosh Hashanah I had to be there and I showed up and I tell my wife and she listens to me and we go there. It's such a mitzvah and they walked away and I had to do this everything myself. And in the end it says, and then I put the nameplate and it says Simon Pollock. The great uncle's head drops. He says, what? He says, Simon Pollock. He says, it can't be. It can't be. He says, great uncle, what are you talking about? He says, Rabbi Amin, please sit down, I need to talk to you. He says, 52 years ago, Rabotai, 52 years ago, in Seattle, Washington, all we had was a shul. We did not have a yeshiva. We didn't have anything except a shul. And we knew that the only way to preserve a community, the only way to sustain a community, Jewish, to have some religiosity in our community, and that was to sponsor a kid to go to yeshiva. We didn't have that in Seattle, Washington. The kids had to come here in New York. So the shul organized a gala dinner like what we did today, Rabotai. Exactly what we did today. And the objective is sponsor a kid to go to yeshiva. And we lined up the boys. We brought the people who were able to have funds, who were able to support themselves and other people. And they said, okay, this kid, who can sponsor? One guy raised his hand and says, I sponsor him to come to New York and study by Rabbi Davis in Brooklyn. Okay, this kid, who's going to sponsor him? The other guy got up. It says, Rabbi Amin, Simon Pollock sponsored you. You see, Rabotai, when Simon Pollock needed him, Rabbi Amin was there. Hashem was very careful. Hashem was very, very careful that when Rabbi Amin needed Simon Pollock, he was there for him. Rabotai, if you want to define greatness, gadlut, greatness is defined by those who step up to the plate. Who step up to the plate and take the initiative and say, I can do it, I'm ready to help. It is not by mistake why we're all here. Each one of us has the responsibility, has the greatness within to save a neshama. I'm going to take your last 2 minutes. The holy Rambam, Rabbi Moshe ben Maimon. The story is said by many Gedolim. And I'm going to end with this, Rabotai. Sorry for taking your time. Rambam once had a deal with the Sultan. They would play on many, many occasions. They would play chess. The Sultan got so good at playing chess from the tricks of Rambam that he wanted to make a deal with the Rambam. What's the deal? The deal is, Kavado, Rambam, Rabbi Moshe ben Maimon, I have a deal for you. Rambam says, what is it? The deal is about chess. What is it? If we play and I win, the Sultan says, you will convert to Islam. And if you win, I will have to convert to Judaism. The Sultan gives this deal to Rambam. Rambam says, let's do it. They both go to sleep. Rambam wakes up early in the morning, gets himself prepared. They come in and they start playing. All of a sudden, any move that Rambam wants to make, the Sultan is ahead of him. Rambam starts sweating. He's noticing, Rabotai, he's losing the game. Rabotai, his eternity is based on this game right now. Because if he loses, he knows what. And if he doesn't convert, off his head. And little by little, Rambam is losing and he doesn't know what to do. And the Sultan is having fun and he says, I want to see the next move because I already know it. He's losing chess pieces. He doesn't have more left. A man walks in screaming. He says, a robber, a robber. The Sultan says, who interrupted? He walked in with 10 people. He says, he stole money from me. The Sultan says, Rambam, you stole money from him? He says, I don't know what the guy is. How much did he steal? 100 silver coins. What? 100 silver coins was generations of living. He says, Rambam, did you do this? He says, I didn't do it. He says, swear. The guy says, I'm going to swear, but I have to swear in my own language. He says, how long is it going to take? He says, not long. And he starts swearing, Rabotai, in his own language. It goes on and goes on. The swearing goes on, Rabotai, for 7 minutes. The Sultan says, I'm giving you 10 seconds. If you're not done, off your head. This guy finishes his swearing, he goes away. They continue the game. The odds start to tip, and Rambam starts to win the game. The Sultan is aghast, he doesn't know what's happening. He says, what just happened? How are you winning the game? Rambam with a smirk. As Rambam wins the game, he tells him with a smirk. He says, Kevado, I'll tell you what happened, but you promised me the deal is off. The Sultan says the deal is off, no one has to convert. Explain me what happened. It was 90% chance of me winning. How did I lose the game? Rambam says, the man who walked in was not an ordinary man. The man who walked in was Rabbi Avraham ben Zimra. If anyone is questioned by his name, Rabotai, he's the author of Ki Yishmera Shabbat, Ki Yishmerini, that we sing on Shabbat. He's the one who wrote the song. If you look at the stanzas, the way he wrote the song, his name is inscribed there. Aleph, Bet, Reish, and so on and so on. That's the easy way to remember Ki Yishmera Shabbat, which stanza goes after which one. He says he walked in. It was not a swear that he gave. You know what he gave? You know what he gave? He said, he told me and he came to me that in Shamayim the angel came down to him and he says, quick, quick, run to the castle. Rambam just put the religion on a chess game. He's going to lose this one. Go and give him the answers on how to tip the game over so you can win the game. He says he came and he told me the secrets on how to win the game. He said exactly the way you're going to go, and I already had the move before you. He told me the answers. It was not a shua that he gave me. He says, Rabbi Abraham told him, he says, you know, Shamayim is upset that you put religion on the chess game. Shamayim had mercy on you. He says, don't ever do that. He says, it will be a lost soul. He says, Rabbi Abraham, if I wouldn't have come to save you. Rabotai, that Rabbi Abraham is if I can say with permission, is Rabbi Kleiman, Rabbi Daniel Babachayev, Rabbi Gadayev, and all the Rabbi Rabotai who stand up for all these kids day after night, with Levy the organizer, who come and make sure that these kids come and make sure they do their work, Rabotai. בעזרת השם, שתצליח בכל דרכיך, גם בגשמיות, גם ברוחניות. בעזרת השם, למענך should grow, should only be example to עם ישראל, וכן יהי רצון ונאמר אמן.
Thank you, Rabbi Raphael, such warm, beautiful words. You know, when Rabbi Raphael said he wanted to speak for more than 2 minutes, so everyone started to hesitate and shake. It's good we didn't listen. And it's good that he continued saying what he was saying. Now, for the last speaker, you know, it's always good to hear stories of people that were in the past. But I'm going to bring to you a Talmud that's actually living it right now. He's in the yeshiva in the moment. He's been with us for 3 years, day in and day out. Our Moshe, please come give us a couple of...
Shabbaton, everybody. I'm really glad that everybody came to support my yeshiva, Kleiman's yeshiva. I want to start by saying, before I came to Manachai, I was in Camp Manachai before, and before I came to Manachai, I've been in many different yeshivas. Never went, Chas v'shalom, thank God I never went to public school, but I came to Manachai. Before that, my family had a lot of problems. My parents just got divorced. My father moved out. You know, a lot of things have happened throughout those years. And all of a sudden I came to Manachai, and I'm coming in. I remember I met Rav Asher, very great person. I came in, and I'm telling Rabbi, you know, I'm a new boy, I just came from a different yeshiva. My mom came over. We came to Rabbi Kleiman, and Rabbi Kleiman said, you know, you're going to come to this yeshiva. And then right away, my mom had tuition. She's like, you know what, I can't do this anymore. I'm going to public school. Rabbi Kleiman right away heard this. He said, this boy cannot go to public school. He has to stay in yeshiva. He has to learn. He has to be a great Talmid Chacham. So I was like, wow. You know, Rebbe actually cares about me, you know? So Rebbe spoke to my mom, they sorted out a deal. So I'm in yeshiva, you know, I'm there 2, 3 months, 4 months. And all of a sudden I see a boy coming from public school. He didn't know a word of olive base, a sentence of Hebrew, nothing. Right away, I usually like to play basketball right after yeshiva. So I went to go play basketball. Rabbi Kleiman takes in this boy, starts talking to him, starts teaching him olive base, you know. I come down after 2 hours playing basketball, and what I see, the boy still with Rabbi Kleiman learning, steiging, non-stop, and I see this boy right away opens up Siddur and starts reading from it, like fluently, like he knew it for years. And I'm looking, what did Rabbi Kleiman do? Is this guy like a magician or something? I don't know where this boy knows fluently. Even, like, I remember when I first started, it took me like 3 years to do it, you know, first, second grade, third grade. This boy did it in 2 hours. And I'm like, looking, you know, Rabbi Kleiman is something, you know, that I learned from him. So over the years, I remember 2 weeks ago, Rabbi Kleiman usually takes boys after yeshiva and learns with them. You know, he spends his own time when he could do other stuff. He learns with us in yeshiva. And 2 weeks ago, Rabbi Kleiman was talking about Mesurah Nefesh, right? Talking about Mesurah Nefesh, and started thinking to myself, you know, have I ever done Mesurah Nefesh before? Did I ever meet a person that ever did Mesurah Nefesh? Started thinking, and all of a sudden what popped in my head, the Rebbeim in my yeshiva. Right away, I remember the Rebbeim in my yeshiva, what they do every night, sleepless nights. They go out helping Jews, helping their own students, helping Klal Yisrael. And I'm there, and I'm like, wow, you know, started thinking about the Rebbeim, okay, you know. I want to tell you guys a story. In the summer, right, a lot of boys, like Jewish boys, shouldn't be here. They should be in camp. You know, they should be out of state. So I told them I was in Camp Manachai, right? I was there for like 6 weeks, and all of a sudden I wanted to go home. I didn't tell nobody. I wanted to pack my bags. Like the van driver took me straight home. 12 o'clock, I text my Rebbe, and I tell him, Rebbe, I'm home, I'm going to sleep right now. The second he heard that, he right away in his pajamas, woke up, put on a white shirt, black pants, drove all the way to my house while I'm sleeping, picked me up with my suitcase, threw me in the car, and started driving. Literally 15 minutes later, I wake up, I'm on the highway. I'm like, what the heck is going on here? What am I doing in my Rebbe's car? He says, you're going back to camp. And I was looking, wow, you know, he just drove me all the way to camp. It took us like 2 hours and 30 minutes just to get there. And now my Rebbe has to drive all the way back. And I'm like, wow, are these the kind of people I want to become like? 100%, you know? I want to tell you a little about all the Rebbeim in our yeshiva. I'll start with my Rebbe right now in yeshiva, Rabbi Gadayev. You know, even though Rabbi Gadayev can be a strict guy and very, you know, he no matter what will never give up on somebody, no matter what. Even though we fight with him, argue with him, everything. He right away never gave up on us, never. I never seen him just go like, you know what, I'm done. He never. I'm a really big troublemaker in school, I'll be honest. I made every teacher ever in my class get up and just leave the class. Telling the rabbi, you know, I'm leaving right away. The only rabbi that ever stayed in class was Rabbi Gadayev. He never got up and left. And I'm like, wow, you know, this guy is something. He's mamish special, you know? And then he has an older brother named Rabbi Shalom Gadayev. Every Wednesday, I usually go to Shiur. I go to Shiur at 78-15 Parsons Boulevard from 9 to 10 o'clock. Always there, learning with Rabbi Shalom. And Rabbi Shalom is one of the nicest people I ever met. You know, even though he's always in yeshiva, always on time, always there. You know, right now he's not here. I really wished he was here, but he has a shul to run back in Queens. So he has to be with his group called Hashem. You know, I want to talk also about Rav Moshe Kadosh. Rav Moshe, you know, I remember when I was coming to yeshiva, I was being there, you know, I was going for shacharit, and I see all the rabbis there except Rav Moshe. I came up to Rav Moshe, I was like, Rav Moshe, how come you're never, like, on time, you know? Don't you think that the kids learn from you? He's like, don't worry about me, you do you. So, okay. When I want to, like, get something or do something, I won't stop until I get it. That's the type of person I am. So I went to Rav Asher and I was like, what does Rav Moshe do at this time? You know, he says he wakes up every morning for nets, goes davens, takes his car, right away goes to public schools. I'm like, wow, for 2 hours, putting on like 100 kids filming. I'm like, wow, you know, it's crazy. Also, Rav Levy, the person that made the Shabbaton, he made it happen. Rav Levy, this whole month he didn't come to our school on time. Why? Because he didn't stop. He was just, you know, trying to do the Shabbaton, trying to get people into our yeshivas. He's all over the place. You know, one kid told me in our yeshiva, the first time he ever came, he never met the Rebbeim. He looked at them like they were, you know, the Rebbeim are just Rebbeim. You'll never see this in any yeshiva. A rabbi came for like one student at a time, you know? Usually you just see, you know, he's in our yeshiva, after yeshiva, that's it, he's done. I don't know who he is, you know? But our Rebbeim, even though out of yeshiva, Shabbos, they take us to Shabbaton, they take us everywhere. Everywhere they go, they take us with us, like we're their own children. You know what I mean? And, yeah.
Thank you for everyone for listening, taking your time. And before I give the mic to the next speaker, I just want to say a small story. After the Holocaust, there was a rabbi called the Chabina Rav. The Chabina Rav, he immigrated to Eretz Yisrael, and he needed to fund a new yeshiva. He needed to fund a new place for the people to learn Torah. Where did everyone go to? They went to England. Everyone went to England. Why? Over there are all the Balabatim. He went to England, he took 2 or 3 Talmidim, he scattered them around, he said, we have to raise a certain amount of money. At the end of the week, they came to a conclusion that they didn't even raise a quarter of how much they needed to raise. They said there's one Gvir, he's so filthy rich, but he's a friar Yid. He doesn't give anything for Torah and Mitzvot. Nothing. Don't even waste your time. The Chibin Rav said, what? Another Yid, I'm not going to give him the opportunity to make the mitzvah of tzedakah? He called this Gvir, and the Gvir said, who is this? He said, this is the Chibin Rav. He said, how may I help you? He said, we're fundraising for a yeshiva. Have a nice day. Click. The next day was Shabbos. This Gvir got a phone call on Shabbos. He picks up the phone and he says, who is this? And he says, this is the Chibin Rav. He said, it's Shabbos, how are you calling? He said, it's Pikuach Nefesh! Pikuach Nefesh doche et Shabbat! That's why I'm calling. And that is the message of what we're doing here today. We are doing something called real Pikuach Nefesh. And if you can't see it, that means you're not seeing it. It's not good. In a nice tone, I'm going to say it. I want to just say thank you for everyone for coming. I really appreciate it. The last person that's going to speak is Rav Meirov. So please, everyone, hold tight. And I really, really thank you for coming.
Melave, Rabotai, the truth is, when they say Dvarim hayotzim min halev nechasim al halev, words that come from the heart, penetrate your heart. Hearing these boys from the yeshiva, these are real life stories that didn't happen to their friends, that happened to them. You're hearing these maasim, and you're like, wow, this is happening in our community, we don't even know about it. You know, Baruch Hashem, everyone over here likes to have a good deal. If we have a piece of real estate, then me and you could buy together, and we split the profits, we'll jump on the opportunity. Melave Rabotai, this is the ultimate real estate. When we talk about Yisachar Zvulun, you're taking these boys and so many other kids just like them, and you're purchasing yourself a real estate in Shamayim, really for nothing. Pennies on the dollar. We're seeing real stories. We're hearing real people. It's not a newspaper article where you have a fake name where the star name has been changed. This is the person. This is what would happen to. So Rabotai, we're talking about Yisachar Zvulun. It's an opportunity, pennies on the dollar over here. I know most of the people are tired. Ashrechem, they even stayed up so late. But I'm sure if people knew who was speaking and how they speak, people would have stayed longer. Because these Bachorim, some of them are married today, Baruch Hashem. They are real people that could have been off in the streets if it wasn't for this yeshiva. So you have an opportunity, Rabotai, to change the course of history and to Bezrat Hashem be partners in a matter, in a situation that has mamash endless rewards. Ashrechem to every single one that gets involved. And may HaKadosh Baruch Hu not give you any challenges with your children, Chad v'Shalom. You should be zachet to raise, we should all be zachet to raise our children. V'nachad v'shalva Bezrat Hashem. B'kedusha v'tahara Bezrat Hashem. And we should never need the services of these Rabbanim. We should never ever need it. But one thing we do know is if ever we do need it, or someone does need it, they'll give their life for you. So Rabotai, everyone be a partner, get involved, some way, somehow. Chazakim Baruchim, and HaKadosh Baruch Hu should give every single one of us the zechut to be partners in this great endeavor, and we should be zocheh to see the coming of Mashiach Tzidkenu, B'mira b'yameinu, amen v'amen.